in Revio.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Glory days today. We talked to Pete Torgerson. The Rangers lost the first game in the finals.
California Chrome going for the first Triple Crown in 36 years. Jerry Swarzman will join us.
Mets can't get a hit, but they're getting great pitching.
And it was an amazing week in sports. Don Zimmer died. Donald Sterling selling the Clippers. And for the first time in 50 years, no Roman numerals on the Super Bowl. Mr. B will do a song for you. Glory days coming up right now. Good morning, everybody. Today is Saturday, June 7th, 2014, and you are watching the Glory Day Show on the Saturday edition, right here on Radio.com, the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco. My name is Paul Discofani. This is my good buddy, Bruce Oler.
Good morning, Disco.
How are you?
I'm doing great.
All righty. We are broadcasting to you live on Radio.com. Matt Martin is behind the glass today. We are broadcasting from the InRavio studios here at the Village Music Shoppy, right here in beautiful Mastic, in the Long Island, in the great state of New York, which is gripped in Stanley Cup fever.
And also Belmont Stakes fever too.
Yeah, we have a real shot today to get a Triple Crown winner. First one, 36 years.
Gonna be a big crowd there today, I'm sure.
Yeah. Are you going?
I am not. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
No, I'm not going. But our good friend Jerry Swarzman wishes he was going.
I'm sure he does.
And he will be here today to discuss California Chrome's chances. And hopefully, when we get his predictions, they will be much better than his predictions last time. Because if you bet with
no
Jerry...
pressure, Jerry. No pressure.
If you bet with Jerry last week, you lost a lot of money at the Kentucky Derby. All righty. We do have a call-in number, if you're interested. 1-855-4-IN-RAVIO, which is 1-855-466-7284. So... we have the Stanley Cup going on. We got a Triple Crown right around the corner here. Well, not exactly around the corner. Maybe about 45 miles from here, maybe.
It's a little further than that, I think. It's probably 50, about 60 from 60 here. Probably 60 from here.
It's going to be an interesting sports day.
Yeah, the one thing I read was that they're not sure what time the puck is dropping for Game 2 tonight.
How come?
Because NBC has the Belmont Stakes, and it has the Stanley Cup Finals. Okay, and depending upon the outcome of that race, it could be 7:15 or 7:30. They drop the puck tonight.
Oh, it's an early game. It's an early game today.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
That's right.
Well, the race goes off supposedly at 6:52.
Right.
Should only take 2.5 minutes.
That's right. That's right. What's it, a mile and a half? I think is what the length is.
All right. By the way, we had some comments last week about the new duds.
Yes, there you go.
That we're wearing, the ties and the shirts, and we just want you to know how sophisticated a show that this is. And by the way, my friend, it takes a real man to wear a lavender shirt.
It's just, I'm colorblind. So
now, Bruce is colorblind if you didn't know it, but it's a lavender shirt.
Right.
So, did your wife pick that shirt out?
Of course she did. Of course she did. Well, not
I think she's playing a joke.
She picks out all my shirts, to tell you the truth.
No, it looks really good.
There you go.
It's a nice thing. The tie matches.
Yeah. I thought my eyes must be lavender too then, I guess.
No, your eyes are blue.
Okay.
Your eyes are blue. All righty. Where do you want to start today? We've got Don Zimmer.
Let's talk about Don Zimmer.
Don Zimmer passed away. If you're not a Yankee fan, you probably think of Don Zimmer only for the fact that Pedro Martinez knocked him down during that fight.
Well, certainly that's one of his highlights, I think, of his career. I read that he said that basically the only payments he ever got were for playing baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
He never had any other job?
Else. Never did anything else. He had never had any other job that he got paid for.
Did you know he was an original Met?
I did know that.
He was an original Met. He signed with the Dodgers in 1949. He had a football scholarship to play for Bear Bryant.
Really?
In Alabama. He turned it down to play baseball. Right?
He was on the 55 Dodgers.
He played shortstop for the 55 Dodgers. And it's funny, he talks about that.
The 55 Dodgers were the only New York, only Dodger team that played in New York that won a World Series.
Right. He says he talked about that year. He was a power hitting shortstop.
Yeah.
And which I didn't really realize. He had 15 home runs and he had 50 runs batted in just 88 games with the Dodgers. And in that last game, that Game 7 that they won the World Series in Dodger Stadium, he didn't play in that game. He was their second baseman.
Well, it wasn't Dodger Stadium, was it?
No, it was the Yankee Stadium, I meant. And the manager, Walter Olson, didn't put him in the game. Okay. They put in, because Pee Wee Reese was the shortstop.
Right.
He was the second baseman. They took the left fielder and made him play second base and put, because he wanted to get Sandy Amoros in the lineup, all right? Sandy Amoros winds up making this tremendous catch off Yogi Berra when he was right against the wall. You probably remembered because we've seen it a lot. And that actually saved the World Series. And so Don Zimmer says, if it wasn't for him, they would have never won the World Series.
Good for Don Zimmer.
But he suffered like a series of beanings.
Yes.
He had a metal plate in his head. He had a metal plate in his head. He had 4 screws in his head.
I remember he got hit by a foul ball, I guess, when he was coaching with the Yankees.
Right.
And the next day he shows up with a helmet on.
He had the helmet
with the NY logo on it.
He was also the manager of the '78 Red Sox, the Bucky Dent.
That's right.
The Bucky Dent thing. He says what everybody forgets about that is they talk about the tremendous collapse of the Red Sox. He said, but they won their last 10 games to get into the tie with the Yankees. He says, otherwise, it would have been a much worse collapse. I don't know how much.
That's right.
He said, but they won their last 10 games to get
just to force that tie.
To force that tie.
They were in a free fall for a while.
Right. And he also won a pennant with the Cubs. He was the manager of the Cubs in '87. They were 93 and 69. Won 93 games, the Cubs. When was the last time the Cubs won 93 games?
Well, if they played the Mets all the time, they might have 93 wins this year. Who knows?
It's unbelievable. We played the worst team in the league and got swept.
Yeah.
And now we're going to the best team in the league. What could possibly happen that's worse?
Not much. Not much. The Mets are in a free fall right now. As a matter of fact, I had toyed with playing Free Falling today by Tom Petty. But I've done that one before, so I said I'll do something else.
Yeah. I had just one more Don Zimmer story that was told. His first ever visit to Yankee Stadium was the summer of 1949.
Okay.
All right, he was playing.
As a rookie, I guess.
No, he wasn't a rookie. He was playing like club ball.
Okay.
And his team, he lived in Cincinnati, so a team from Cincinnati was in a tournament that was being played at Yankee Stadium. He says every member of the team, that when they got to the stadium, they're walking around and they're all oohing and ahhing. He says, and who's at Yankee Stadium but Babe Ruth?
Yeah.
It was about 2 months before Babe Ruth died, right? So Babe Ruth signed a baseball for every one of the guys from Cincinnati, right? So they said to him, what did you do with the ball? He says, do you still have it? He says, that afternoon I played with it. He says, you played with an autographed Babe Ruth ball? He says, what about all the other guys, He says, they said, how many of the other guys still had their ball? He says, every one of them.
Yeah, okay. But that was in the days before, you realized this stuff might be worth something, I think.
Yeah,
Did he have a plate in the head back then, or not?
No. This was
that
after
was
he.
pre-plate. Okay.
Yeah. Do you know, by the way, how many games he played for the Mets?
He didn't play many because he got traded like about 2 months into the season, I think, and he was in like an over 30 slump. I think when he got traded.
He played 14 games.
Okay.
He was 4 for 52.
But I think he was the original third baseman for the Mets.
Yeah,
right?
he was the first ever third baseman for the Mets. He batted .077 when he was traded to Cincinnati.
It's
That's almost what Travis d'Arnaud
was. A guy that was hitting .077,
Could you imagine like trying to trade Chris Young right now?
Yeah.
Or Travis d'Arnaud with the way they're hitting? Nobody would take that guy.
Yeah.
Plus he was, 71 when they tried to trade him, however old he was. Anyway. Couple of things. Our favorite racist.
Yeah, what's he up to now?
Donald Sterling.
Yeah.
He took the deal.
So he's going away quietly. Kind of like A-Rod did at the end of the day.
He dropped the lawsuit.
Uh-huh.
He dropped the lawsuit, and he's taken his $2 billion and is just going to ride off into the sunset.
Good for him.
Good
for him.
His attorney says all disputes and outstanding issues have been resolved.
I see.
That's because I believe that the attorney gets 10% of $2 billion.
You think so?
I would bet you the attorney may even get more than 2%.
But I mean, that was a sale. It had nothing to do with this lawsuit, though.
Well, he's still paying him for something.
Well, I'm sure he had a pretty big
otherwise,
rate per hour.
Otherwise, why would the lawyer be making a statement?
Yeah.
If the lawyer wasn't getting any of that cash.
Well, of course he's getting. I mean, he didn't do it for free, for sure.
That's true. All right, we're going to have Pete Torgerson on the phone in a few minutes before we talk about.
Speaking about Pete, we went out to eat Monday night, and then we went going to karaoke and disco. You impressed me with your karaoke skills, man. You wound up singing "New York, New York." You dedicated it to the Rangers.
And I want all the Ranger fans out there who've been yelling at me for not supporting the Rangers to know that I did that.
You did. We even did a kick line.
We did a kick line. I was channeling my inner Frank Sinatra.
Well, you did Bruce Springsteen to start out with. You did a nice version of Glory Days.
No,
not
Thunder
Glory
Road.
Days, Thunder Road.
And then what was the other one? Oh, we did Surrender.
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick.
That's right.
Surrender.
It was an older crowd, though. I'll tell you that.
It was like being with my mother.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's right. And my mom and your mom. Went
that's
out,
right. It was the historic
Tuesday
meeting
night. There you go.
of the first time they've ever met.
Yep.
Right.
That's
that was kind of funny.
Although my mother did say, I said, you haven't met Mrs. Disco before, have you? She goes, well, I talked to her on the phone. And of course, that was that one Father's Day where.
And you know what? My mother didn't remember that.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know what? I didn't remind her.
Okay.
So.
We were playing softball. It was a bar league, so of course we were drinking afterwards.
Okay. Did you know what's going on in the NFL?
I do remember going to pick you up that night because we wound up going out that night, and I think you would cut the lawn. And the lines were not quite straight that you were cutting.
I remember the reason why I went back to your house, and again, it's very foggy.
Yeah.
I believe the reason why I went back to your house was because you had an unopened bottle of scotch.
Oh, I think so.
That I was going to be giving to my father for Father's Day.
Yeah.
So I went to your house to pick up the scotch, and I was in a fairly inebriated state of mind.
It's still one of my favorite lines of all time. Okay, you know what this line is?
No.
Okay, you said, "Father's Day don't start till I get there." That's what you said.
That should be the T-shirt.
That's a great line. I use that line all the time. The meeting don't start till I get there.
Because the only reason why I think I was having dinner at your house that night was because your mother and father both.
Well, we're trying to sober you up, man.
Before I went home and
made
a disaster of it. But it was a disaster all around. There are.
I think Denise,
I don't know how many.
Sal's sister Denise even showed up and implored you to come home. And that's when you said, "Father's Day don't start till I get there."
And what I have to say in my defense, is that I was drinking heavily, and I was not in command of my faculties.
That's true.
And I have to tell you, that is the one and only time in my whole life that's ever happened. Okay. No.
Yeah.
No, I mean that. No.
You gonna look at the camera now?
No. There were no
I'll never
cameras.
do that again.
Thank goodness there were no cameras back then. No, but I'm talking about being in a state where your body is moving, and you have no recollection of what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
I'm not talking.
That's the only time that's ever happened to you?
That's the only time that's ever happened to me. Do you have times where you have no recollection, where somebody came to you and said, "Do you know what you did last night?" and you had to say no?
Yes. Yeah. And then when they tell me, I go, I did that. I mean, it's been a long time ago now, for sure, but I had many of those moments, you know.
Well, I can honestly say, Mom, I only did it once.
So anyway, but the band was good, though. They had a good time.
The band was really good. It was a,
I heard they were loud,
13 or a 14-piece band. Well, you know, the Daisy hasn't changed much, I think.
Yeah. Well, is there still a hole in the bathroom door?
Oh, no, I'm sure there's that.
I think they still repaired that. Cartons hanging from the ceiling for sound suppression?
It's the same structure.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's the room is not that big.
Yeah.
And for a full-piece orchestra, it was great. They were fantastic, but it was too loud. My mother had tinnitus.
Okay.
And my mother has tinnitus, so in loud situations, it makes her ears go worse.
Okay.
So.
Anyway.
All right, let's. So
we got a couple of callers.
We have callers
backed up on us.
Who's the other one?
We have Pete and we have Swan.
All right, let's do Mike Swan.
Let's get Swan.
Get Swan for 5 minutes.
Okay.
Where is he? Let's get him on the phone.
Mr. Swan.
Mr. Swan, you there?
Yes, I am.
All righty, you got 5 minutes.
Okay.
Should I start the clock?
Start the clock. Well, last week I mentioned to you that Mark Stoll better get his game together, get his head out of his butt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bruce said he played a lot of minutes. Well, you know what? Everybody else played a lot of minutes. But, the first goal the other night, he's in front with the guy in front of the net. Does he tie him up? No, there's a goal. Where was he on the second goal against the Rangers? He's out. What's he out there covering the right point for the Kings? He's supposed to be in front of the net.
But your team is in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Aren't you happy?
I'm happy, but we're not going to win with this guy making all these mistakes. You know what? I'd rather see Ralph Diaz play than him. He was responsible for the first 3 goals in Game 5 against Montreal. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
You and I had a conversation earlier in the week about the Kings. Man, that's a strong team.
Oh, yeah, they're a strong team.
Tough team.
You can't make the mistakes.
If the Rangers can't exploit their one edge they have, well, I guess they have 2 edges. Probably goalie, they probably have a slight edge, but they have speed. You know, and speed kills, and the first 2 goals was speed. Actually, they could have almost won that game if Quick wouldn't have made that save at the end.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened. They ran out of gas in the third period because they certainly weren't skating.
Well, the Kings got stronger as the game went on, for sure. I mean, the Rangers looked great in the first period, and they were up 2-0 besides which, you know?
Yeah, well, everything started to fall apart when you have Mark Stoll on the ice.
You're not mentioning Dan Girardi, who gave up the puck, in the zone that went up, resulting in a winning goal there.
What was that?
You're not mentioning Dan Girardi, though. Dan Girardi made a bad play,
you know what? I don't blame it on Girardi because, first of all, we shouldn't have been in that situation if Stoll had played his game.
Okay.
All right? Girardi didn't screw up the game because he wasn't where he was supposed to be. He lost his edge. He tried to get the puck out. He knew he was in trouble. It's tough under those circumstances.
Yeah.
The best thing he could have did if he could have had it to redo, he would have just tried to backhand the puck back behind the net. But,
well, and McDonough was out of the zone too. I think he thought that they were going to go on a rush.
Well,
there,
they were trying to do their breakout passes up, and unfortunately, I don't hold it against Girardi. Mark Stoll is the guy, as far as I'm concerned, to continue.
All right, so who do you think? What do you think is going to happen now, Game 2? They going to be able to recover from this, or are they going to come back to Madison Square Garden down 2 games?
I think they can recover, but they got to skate for 3 periods. They cannot let up.
Well, even Vigneault said that they didn't bring their A game.
Well, that's exactly right. He said the only guy that did was
McDonough.
Well, he didn't say McDonough. He said Hank did.
Right.
And then he said, and I'm not going to mention anybody else. Is what he said after that.
But,
I guess he didn't want to get into a controversy there.
It was like they, you would have thought they played 7 games in 9 days the way they skated in the third period.
Right, and the Kings should have been the tired team, and the Kings got stronger as the game went on.
The team was tired.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Again, they didn't even fly out there until Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay, and actually, our hockey maven.
I think they were out there Monday.
Monday, they flew out on Monday.
No, they were out on Monday because Tuesday I think was media day, right?
Right. Yeah. So they flew out on Monday. Pete had said something last week, which I thought
adjust at a time.
Well, Pete had said they should fly to Chicago on Sunday,
right,
and wait for that game to get over. This way, they're halfway. Which I thought, because it's a private plane anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they have to unload everything. They could have just left everything on the plane, hung out, watched the game, and figured out and they had to stay or go. I thought that would have been a good idea, but you know what? There's a lot to sleeping in your own bed for an extra day.
And that they just didn't put away as usual, and the power play again.
Yeah.
Still, there was one. In fact, I forget. I think it was Albert that was. He was announcing the game. Mentioned there was one time. Steppen was all the way in between the circles. He never looked to take a shot.
Yeah.
And he had a clear shot. I'm not saying he's going to score, but you get shots, you get rebounds. You get deflections. How did the Kings win in overtime?
Well, you
the
got
defenseman shot the puck, it got deflected, and then it went off the Chicago guy in front of the net.
You got a 2-2 game going into the third period, and they got 3 shots.
Yeah.
In the third period.
They didn't skate in the third period. I don't know what that.
They were terrible in the third period, and yet,
they were in the game.
Even they were short-handed. I mean, they had the first chance to win in that game.
And the Kings had 20 shots.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
All righty, Mikey, hang in there.
All right.
We've got another. You still have to lose 3 more games out of the next 6.
Yeah, no, I'm not panicking yet.
But
they do have the speed. I mean, and if they figure out a way to exploit that speed, it'll be a good series.
You what?
You know how you have superstitions, I have superstitions?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Well, my black cat was sitting with me the first 2 Ranger goals. And then he left, and the Kings came back. And the whole night, after the first goal was going to go, Willie, come over here, Willie. Willie, and I'd go get him, grab him, and he would leave. I said, Willie, I'm getting mad.
You need to keep some catnip with you.
Keep some catnip.
I think, or something, man.
All right, man. We'll talk next week.
All right. Good luck there, Mike.
All
Good talking to you, buddy.
Look at that, right on the button, 5 minutes. All right, Mikey, we'll talk later. Thanks.
So now we're going to get Pete on the phone. Okay.
So it was a real interesting thing, we haven't really seen the Kings that much.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen a couple of their playoff games, especially I'd say I saw the last 2 or 3.
Yeah. They are a big team. They have a lot of skill.
They're strong.
You know
what it is? I think they could play any game. Mm-hmm. You want to play a speed game? They're
I tell you,
fast.
that Kopitar is unbelievable, man. He really is. And Dustin Brown. I mean, they just got a great team. They really
This team was, I believe, they went to the conference finals last year also, and they lost to Chicago in a double overtime game. Mm-hmm. But I think they lost 4 games to 1. I don't think it was like a 6th or 7th game.
Yeah,
so they weren't. It wasn't like they just missed. But man, this could be a team that's been to the Stanley Cup Finals 3 times in a row. And in this,
well, you can say the same thing about Chicago too. I think
But no more Pete. We lost him. All right, maybe he'll call us. Pete, if you're out there, call us. Let's talk about the Stanley Cup Finals. A couple of little things that are going on. Darryl Sutter, who was the coach?
Yes, the Kings coach.
You're right. He already beat Vigneault twice in playoff series.
Well, when he was coaching Vancouver.
Right. They beat Vancouver in 2012. And the Canucks were the #1 seed. Did Darryl Sutter play?
Yes,
I think he
didn't play for the Islanders. He wasn't one of the Islanders.
No, we had Brent and Dwayne.
I thought we had 3.
Did we have 3?
I thought we had 3. Yeah.
What did we have?
I don't remember their names.
I remember Brent.
If I knew what we were talking about, I would have researched it.
I know we had Brent and Dwayne Sutter. We had that other Sutter, Darryl. My other brother, Darryl.
Larry, Darryl, and Darryl. There you go.
Yeah. So at any rate.
Carcillo. I guess he got a suspension reduced.
Yes, he was suspended for 10 games.
Yeah.
What did he get it reduced to?
I think 4.
Oh, because then that means he'll be able to come back.
Yes. And the reason why is because there's part of the rule says if, I don't know, it was something about the circumstance where basically that he was, that they shouldn't have suspended him for 10 games. So Bettman called him up and he said, listen, we reviewed the rule. You shouldn't have gotten suspended for 10. You should have suspended for 4. So he reduced his suspension.
So that means but he was on the Kings.
Yes, he was. Well, that's right. I think he came from the Kings.
He was.
The
Rangers got him.
Too,
The Rangers got him mid-season from the Kings.
Yep. I remember people weren't happy about that because he's also an ex-Flyer. So my Ranger fan friends weren't happy about Carcillo joining them. I could tell you that.
And they have a couple of ex-Rangers.
6 games. Okay.
All right, so
okay.
Mike Swan, thank you, Mikey.
All right. It wasn't 4, it was 6. Thank you, Mike.
I guess Mikey's watching the show.
Keep us honest, man.
We may have to get him back on the air if we can't get Pete. But at any rate, so let's talk about the game itself. So game 1 was Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
After 15 minutes, the Rangers have a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
And
they scored those 2 goals because of speed. They were both breakaways. Now, you're not going to score on every breakaway. I mean, look at Grabner on the Islanders. I mean, if that guy would score half of them, man, he would have had 40 goals.
Grabner is the king of the breakaway that he doesn't score on.
Yeah.
That's why he doesn't usually do the shootouts. He's just not good at it.
Yeah.
He's got that speed, but he just can't.
What I say, speed kills, and if the Rangers can figure out a way to exploit that speed, they'll be okay in this series. They really will be.
And that other guy, the defenseman on the Kings.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Who, Drew Doughty?
Yeah. Whew. You know what number he wears?
23?
5.
Oh, Dennis Potvin. Okay.
Where's Dennis Poffin's old number? So anyway, the Rangers are ahead 2-0.
Yep.
And before you know it, the Kings get a goal.
Well, they got a goal late,
right.
And
and that really was a key.
It was. I thought so too.
Because you don't want to. All of a sudden now you're going into the period. You're going back into the second period. Mm-hmm. Now it's only 2-1. It makes a big difference being down 2-1 or 2-0. It's a big difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they tie the game. And then third period they get outshot. The Kings outshot them 20-3.
Yeah.
And the problem with having a goalie like, the problem with a guy like Lundqvist is it's a little different. Obviously, a good goalie can make the difference in a playoff series, but you still have to put the puck in the net.
Yes.
It's like what the Mets are going through right now with great pitching, but they can't get a hit.
You don't score runs, you're not going to win.
They
don't score goals, you're not going to win.
They compare a goalie, they say, if you could win a goalie, it's like basketball. If you have one really good player in basketball, no, it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not, because that one good player in basketball plays both defense and scores. In hockey, a goaltender isn't doing anything more for you than preventing goals from being scored, and a good pitcher is just, all their job is to keep you in the game.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And if they're going to be just sitting back, which is what it looked like they were doing in the third period, I can't believe they were tired. How could you be tired? It's the Stanley Cup Finals.
Well, one of the things that Pete said is the team that travels better is the team that's going to.
He may not know. If he's there, put him back on. If Mike Swan calls back, Mike, call us back.
Or jump on the chat box there and we can see what you got to say, okay?
I don't think Mike knows how to use the chat box.
Don't diminish him like that, He might surprise you.
I am amazed that Mike Swan is even watching the show on the thing, because he is not the most tech savvy of the people that we know. And he knows this. I'm not calling you out
Maybe his cat is
here.
helping him. I don't know. All
right. We only got a couple minutes before we go to break anyway. So then, in overtime, Dan Girardi loses the puck, and Williams converts for the goal. It's already his 8th goal. He's got 8th goal. Gabrick's got 13. This team can score goals.
Yep.
Do you still think they're going to win?
Who,
The Rangers?
I do. I do. I mean, I can't root for them, but, I mean, there's that intangible that, all the karma that I think that they've accumulated. I think it's not going to be a 4-game sweep. It's a must-win for them tonight, though. I really think so. Of course, it really isn't, but I really think they need to make a stand, and I think they need to win tonight to, if they're going to win the series.
All righty. I think on our phone is not Pete Torgerson. But it's back to Mike Swan again. We somehow lost Pete, so you'll have to be our hockey expert.
All right, well, first of all, Bruce, this goes not just to me. I tell him all the time. I'm not a computer person.
I know, right? See? I told them that you won't be using the chat box.
If it wasn't for fantasy football, I wouldn't own one. If I have problems, my first call is to my nephew.
I see. Okay.
I mean, reason
That's
I
your
got
tech support, I see.
Before
Okay.
computers were big, I was winning the Renfrew championships, and everybody got computers, and I was getting screwed over.
We all of a
So I had
sudden
to give in.
we went from not having as much information as you to completely surpassing you on the information
And
highway.
that was it. I mean, I was picking up little tidbits in USA, and then all of a sudden, I remember one night we were at a draft at SMS, and Savman drafts this guy, Terrell Davis.
Yeah,
And I'm
the
like,
running back.
Who the hell is he? Where'd you get this guy's name?
I read it on the computer.
Well, you know what's funny? The computer has kind of killed not my relationship with my children, but my children used to depend on me for sports news.
Uh-huh.
Okay? And no matter what it was that I was talking to them about, I always knew before them. Now it's no more than 2 minutes. They get on their phone. They get a beep when something happens. Like I thought something obscure like the NFL not using the Roman numeral L for Super Bowl 50. I thought that was something that nobody would. Not that nobody would know it, but I didn't think James would know about it. I was telling him about it on Friday before he left, and I said, yeah. I said, did you know? He says, yeah. He says, they don't like the way it looks on the logo.
I didn't know they weren't going to use it either.
Yeah. Well, you don't use the computer.
Go,
That's why you watch this show.
If I wasn't watching your show, and it's not fantasy football season, you know how many times I'll go in? I'll go in and I got 800 or 900 emails to go through. That's why I tell everybody, don't email me if you got to ask me something. You best call me.
There you go.
Because it might be months before I go on. And Carcillo will be available for Game 4.
Right. We made that correction. Thanks for calling in. It was, I guess it was 6 games and not 4
I'm not
that
sure
he got
wrong, but I thought Drew Doughty wore number 8.
I thought it was 5.
I don't know. You might be right. I'm not sure.
Well, Swan, you're calling us out on 2 things here, man. And,
all righty, let's. While I got you here, we're going to hear a prediction. All right, Sammy Stone. Hello, Sammy Stone. Tell me the future. Hello.
Me? You talking?
No, I'm trying to think. I can't get my Sammy Stone to work.
Oh, okay. Now I see you.
You remember Sammy Stone?
Yeah, now I see you with it.
Sammy Stone. I can't get him to work. We'll work on him during the break. All right, we got to go. We're going to break.
I think Disco picked the Rangers so he could jinx us because he's been picking against us all playoffs.
I would never do anything like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, Disco.
I picked the Rangers too, though, because of their karma. We'll see.
All right, Mikey, we'll talk to you later.
You picked them against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's right.
All righty, Mike, we got to go. We got to go to break.
All right.
Right.
All right, man, thanks. That's our good pal, Mike Swan, Supreme Ranger fan. We're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we will have Jerry Swarzman on the line. And
Talk about the Belmont.
talk about California Crone, his chance for that Triple Crown, coming up right after this.
InRavio.com. Paul Brown and the Killing Devils. Alternative progressive rock like you've never heard before. Over 1 million views on YouTube. New York City Village Voice says Paul is a gifted singer, songwriter, and musician with one of the best progressive rock bands on the planet. LA Underground Music Exchange calls him the only modern American band to cover every genre well. Pick up the albums Black Widow Tears, Red Spider, and The Wizard's Dawn, now on iTunes. And get to Facebook.com/Killing Devils to keep up with the latest info.
From the 505 Racing Show, live every Monday night from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Watch as I dive into everything from NASCAR and motor racing, only on InRavio.com.
Transmission of lice occurs from being in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Like catching a cold or the flu.
You have guaranteed peace of mind in every bottle of Got Lice because all of our products are completely natural
And organic.
but strong enough to cover all your lice removal needs while being safe and effective. Our professional technicians are specially trained with our exclusive proven technique to successfully comb out head lice. We come right to your home at your convenience.
Whenever you want us.
We bring everything needed to perform a successful and complete comb out while eliminating your head lice. And we leave you with our exclusive complimentary products to use for the next 10 days following our treatment.
For free.
Our technicians also check all family members who have been exposed to lice. Please visit us on our website today at gotlice.co or feel free to call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 646-257-0121.
Hi, this is Tony.
And I'm Dan, and you're watching
Dear Dad.
Oh, wait, you're not watching it yet, but you should be every Thursday at our new time from
7 to 8.
That's the new time. Dear Dad on enravio.com.
Only in radio.com.
Where else could it be? Tune in.
On the internet.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com. For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco here on radio.com. Good friend of the show. You've heard him on this program during our baseball and football extravaganzas talking about his beloved White Sox and Chicago Bears. His wife Penny has been an expert analyst on our show from time to time for college basketball and college football, and so you really know who wears the jockstrap in that family. 5 weeks ago on this day, on the day of the Kentucky Derby, this next our caller correctly picked not one of the horses that came in.
How's that for a lead-in, Jerry?
This is our good pal from the south side of Chicago, Jerry Swarzman. Jerry, how are you?
Leroy Brown. No.
I'm fine, and I bring you greetings and salutations from His Excellency.
How you been, man?
Okay, listen, I've been working on how I can square up with all the listeners who threw away losing tickets, and I got an idea. Here it is. I work if California Chrome wins today, and he will. I'm working out an endorsement on nasal bandages by California Chrome. Here's the deal. We get a little picture of the horse on the bandage, put it in a nice gift box, and it's the perfect Christmas gift or Father's Day present between couples. And the byline is, honey, are you wearing your Chrome? Nasal Chrome bandages.
I'd buy that. I'd proudly wear a California Chrome.
I'm telling you, people who don't snore will wear it.
You know what? Wouldn't that be funny if when they went to the Belmont today, that people were wearing them like on their nose and stuff?
Yeah.
We should head over there.
You know, I'm telling you, if you just went out and bought a couple of boxes of those Breathe White strips and just wrote California, I love California Chrome on the strips, you could sell them in the parking lot today. You'd make a fortune.
Absolutely, and you know who would be backing the horse. So, anyways, you know, I'm just throwing it out there. People want to get in on the ground floor. We could make millions.
You know, a day late and a dollar short. Where were you yesterday talking about?
Yeah, well, that's unfortunately the kind of guy I am.
So, Jerry, you're not making it out here to see the race. Disco was telling me 2012 you were in New York, and the horse got scratched, and I guess you were sitting in a bar when you found that out. You had already made the trip out to New York, only to find out that there was not going to be a Triple Crown in 2012.
Right.
I figure it's the California Chrome's advantage that I laid back.
Okay.
But let's talk about the race. And,
Yes.
as everybody knows, the race is about skill and luck. And so far in pre-race, everything has gone according to plan. The horse, in fact, is coming in very sound gallop yesterday, 2 miles, and has gained 30 pounds in muscle since the Derby. So they want this horse bigger and stronger for this longer race. In fact, his trainer has been quoted as saying he hasn't missed an oat. So, and neither have I. And you remember in '79 when Spectacular Bid went for the Triple Crown, he stepped on a pin that morning and hobbled around on 3 legs to lose by 6, I think. Yeah. Took 3rd. So
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. He's made it this far. And the next luck he's going to need is at the gate, where the horse breaks. Well, no, he's coming out of the 2-hole, the famous hole that the Secretariat made great.
Right.
And he's got to come out clean. We don't want that horse to stumble. War Emblem stumbled in 2002, went to its knees, and obviously that blew the race right there. So that's the luck that's needed.
Actually, his jockey, Victor Espinoza, he rode War Emblem in 2002.
Exactly. So he's going to keep that horse's head up, and a lot of horses crouch in the starting gate, and when the ground breaks too much, obviously that causes a stumble. California Chrome doesn't do that. The horse rocks back and forth. And that's why his breaks are oftentimes slow, because depending on where he is in his rock with the gate springs, that's his first step. So we need a little luck there. And then to get into what is always billed as a rider's race. The question is, who will take the lead? There's not a lot of front speed in this race. So I'm looking to either Samrat, who's the New York horse, or Tunnelist to take the lead. Because Tunnelist won wire to wire in the Peter Pan on the 14th of May, and looked very smart doing so.
You know, that's a horse he didn't race. He didn't race in either the Derby or the Preakness.
Exactly. He's got a very short resume. 4 starts coming up to this one.
Right. But he's also got a new mount. Rosario is running him. He said he watched him in the Peter Pan and then said, "I have to ride him." Because Rosario was right on Curlin in the Preakness and switched jockeys. That's kind of unusual, isn't it, Jerry?
Exactly. Especially, you find a winning jock, and of course, Espinoza on California Chrome is the one who put the 6 wins together.
Right.
He hasn't lost on that horse.
But he's never won the Belmont, ever. He's 0-3.
Yep.
In the Belmont. So, again, a lot of those numbers sometimes get lost in the sauce. You know, it's not like batting averages, and I mean, there's so many different factors on the horse you're running. It's not anything that you could say, you're always going to go with the numbers.
Exactly.
Weather will not be a factor in this race at all.
Right.
It's going to be a beautiful day out there. It's a beautiful day in New York, and it's going to be about over 100,000 people, I think, in the stands. So that should be pretty exciting stuff, man.
an overflow crowd.
There you go.
Yeah, and I mean,
So-
when you were talking about tonalist or how do you pronounce that? How are you pronouncing it? Tonalist?
Tonalist.
Tonalist, okay. That horse, you know, the fact that he didn't run in the Derby or the Preakness, he's the third favorite from the odds makers.
Yeah,
you
8 to 1.
At 8 to 1. And, you know, he's been on the board in his in all 4 of his starts. I mean, in the last 3 starts. And,
I think it'll be a real disappointment if California Chrome doesn't win. You know,
Oh, are you
everybody's
kidding?
pulling for this horse. This is a horse of the people, I guess, if there's such a thing, you know?
Horse racing needs this.
Yeah.
And he's got a target on his back. So, I mean, during the race, Espinosa is going to be watching speed because he needs to make sure the speed is right so he gets everything out of his horse. And he's got, when he moves, all the other contenders are going to move with him because they know how he can run.
what about the distance?
Yeah, well, at a mile and a half. And that's where the last segment will be a killer for those faint of heart. The Belmont is the longest stretch
Right.
in North America, and you are looking for that wire constantly as these horses come through the stretch. Where's the wire? Where's the finish line? You know, either your horse is making a move or your horse is on top, and you're trying to measure how much he's got. And you're going to see 3 horses coming through the stretch. It'll be California Chrome, Wicked Strong, and Ride for Curlin, and he will earn his picture next week on the cover of Time magazine when California Chrome fights him off for the victory. I think he's going to do it. Obviously, you know, there's got to be, you know, something going on with you if you're not in his behind his back. The only shame here, listening to the program, is the Rangers aren't playing at home. Because I have California Chrome coming out on the ice between periods tonight for his last standing ovation.
I never
Where are
saw a
your
horse
Rangers-
skate before.
Where's your Rangers jersey?
Is that like a Mr. Ed thing where they bring him out and he skates?
Exactly. Wearing a Rangers jersey.
You know, my greatest memory of Mr. Ed is him sliding into home plate at Dodger Stadium.
And it's not only for the movies.
I just remember that episode with him running around the horse running around the bases at Dodger Stadium. And then they had him sliding. They had like a thing, they made him, oh my God. Good
You know
old
how
Mr.
long
Ed.
it took to train that horse to do that? Long time. Like, he always wanted to do a head first slide.
You see the horse going like this. Like Superman coming into home plate. It all depends on it. The catch is not allowed to block home plate anymore,
Yeah,
so
that's
it'd be
right.
completely different.
That's right.
And there's just one other suggestion I can make for this race. You know, and to get even with all the losers from the Derby, not the least of which is me. We buy a dozen $2 tickets on California Chrome.
Okay.
And if that horse wins, you got your stocking gifts for the next couple of years.
Oh, you know what? That is very true. I really wish I had just bought the other tickets, and you'd have the 3 tickets.
Absolutely.
You know,
in
you'd
3
have
years, 35 years, that thing will be worth so much it'll put a kid through college.
Hey Jerry, did you know that there is a Triple Crown trophy
Oh, sure.
like the Stanley
Absolutely.
Cup? I didn't know that. There's a
And
triple.
there is an additional payout from the purse if you
Yeah.
win all 3.
Yeah, first of all, the trophy was commissioned in 1950,
Okay.
and they bring it on the plane like the Stanley Cup, you know. And they have a guy who's the caretaker of the thing.
Is it filled with oats?
I don't know. That's a good question. They've presented it only 3 times. It's the only trophy in sports that makes an appearance, but sometimes doesn't get awarded. You know, you think
Right.
about it. And why do but they don't bring it out. If the horse doesn't win, it just stays
I see.
in the background. So nobody's seen it in 36
So
years.
there's not like a trophy for each one, though, like the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. Okay?
No.
Like,
there's
like
just-
where none of the players
no.
want to touch it. They'll
You know
take
what
a
it's
picture with
called?
it, but that's
It's
it.
got a name.
What's its name?
The Triple Crown Trophy.
Wow, that's very original. Okay.
All right, Jerry, I got a couple of questions for you. Three horses that have a chance to win. We already know that you think Cali is going to win.
I think it's the 3-horse race coming down the stretch. It will be Wicked Strong Right for Curlin and California Chrome.
Not tonalist.
No. I think he's going to be asked to set the early pace, and he's going to fade at the top of the stretch from the race pressure. You know, and I don't want to be too worried about this, but pace is incredible. Secretariat's track record is 224. Last year, 35 years later, the winning time was 2:30 and change. 6 seconds at 35 miles an hour. There's 100 yards difference in the race finish. I mean, pace is everything in this race.
All right. Well, we've got our own prognosticator here. Okay.
Sammy
our
Stone.
pal Sammy Stone. I don't know if you've ever met Sammy Stone before, but Sammy Stone is from Brooklyn.
We pulled him out of storage.
We've pulled him out of storage, and we're going to ask him whether California Chrome is going to win this race or not. Hold on a second.
All right.
Sammy Stone.
That's right.
Tell me the future.
Okay, ask me.
Will California Chrome win the Triple Crown today?
That ain't gonna happen.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
There you go. Straight from the horse's mouth.
I think that sounds like from the horses behind. So that sounds like to me.
Well, let's ask him about Wicked Strong. Sammy Stone.
Sorry.
Did he burp?
Yes, he did. Sammy Stone.
Good guess.
Sammy Stone.
That's right.
Tell me the future.
Sure, ask away.
Will Wicked Strong win the Kentucky Derby today?
Don't hold your breath.
Don't hold your breath. Okay. So far, Jerry, you're 0 for 2. Sammy Stone.
Yo.
Tell me the future.
You just gotta ask.
Will Ride On Curlin win the Belmont Stakes today?
Maybe, maybe not.
He's not helping us at all.
Machines always have intimidated me, and that's only the third time I've been wrong today.
All right, give me a long shot. Like if I'm gonna put 10 on somebody just to try and make some money, who am I putting 10 on?
Well, the long shot I think will be the horse that might find a peak in its career, and General A-Rod might have a shot. The horse knows the other horses. Pretty steady ride. It doesn't have quite the speed, shown its ability to have quite the speed, but we haven't seen these horses at 1.5 miles. And if the other horses beat each other up enough, that horse might find its way through everything on a ride coming down the track, only because he's feeling good and he knows what it's all about.
Now that's the only other horse besides Ride On Curlin and California Chrome that ran in both races.
Well, yes, well, exactly, and he came in with a reasonable resume. He's around the finish. At least within the same area code. The whole issue here is what kind of surprise will the last quarter mile do? I mean, we know all these horses run well under whips. Sometimes you can't show a horse a whip in order to move him through the stretch. These horses will respond to seeing a whip, to getting a little pat on the back. So it's a matter of who's got the nice position in the track and has got stride.
Well, I've got 2 horses here that they say they like the longer distance, and they one is Matterhorn, which didn't run in either one of the races, but he's lost all 3 starts this year. But Commanding Curve, he finished second in the Kentucky Derby, and was buried at 18th. Came all the way back and finished second, but he skipped the Preakness. So he's pretty well rested, and he has great closing speed. So that's got to be a consideration.
And I agree. I think that the field, coming that far back off the pace, might be a problem, because I think at 1.5 miles, things spread out pretty far. It depends on where he makes his move and how much he stays in contact with the front runners.
All right, a couple of quick statistics. Since 2007, horses that competed in the Derby and skipped the Preakness have won the Derby. Have won the Belmont. Ruler on Ice in 2011 was the last one to do that. But since Affirmed won the Triple Crown in 78,
1978.
12 horses have gotten to this stage and failed to win the Belmont.
Yeah.
So
it's tough to pull that hat trick off.
There have been 18 in the entire horse racing history. 18 have tried.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Jerry, always a pleasure.
One question for you, Jerry. Were you wearing a tie when you were talking to us or not?
It's right. I almost didn't get back to the phone. I couldn't find one. And I got out my cleanest dirty shirt.
Okay, good. All right.
All righty, Jerry, always a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Don't be too early, fellas.
Yeah.
All right.
Like California Chrome, we have to go the distance.
There you go.
And it just...
I'm going to take a picture of myself wearing a nasal band that says "Go Chrome."
There you go.
All right, Jerry. Thanks.
Have a great day, fellas.
Good luck.
Jerry,
That's our good pal, Jerry Swarzman. We are running out of time, so take a quick break. You watch the Glory Day Show, Bruce and Disco. Mr. B will be back to do a live song for us. Don't go anywhere.
InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Gina Cotillo from The Gina Show. Come join us every Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for celebrity interviews, Reality Reel with Billy Charles, funny stories with Brian Kinnear, and much, much more. The Gina Show can be found only on InRavio.com, broadcasting to the world, so come and catch us.
Hi, this is Tony.
And I'm Dan, and you're watching
Dear Dad.
Oh, wait, you're not watching it yet, but you should be every Thursday at our new time from
7 to 8.
That's the new time. Dear Dad on InRavio.com.
Only InRavio.com.
Where else could it be? Tune in.
On the internet.
The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
as a reward for sitting through 55 minutes of nonsense here on radio.com, you get to see Mr. B perform a live song for you today. Thanks to our producer, Matt Martin, behind the glass today. You can see him every week, every Friday here on radio.com. In or out, pun intended, from 6 to 7. Thanks to Jerry Swarzman for giving us a hand today on the California Chrome, who he says is going to win the Triple Crown today. Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, putting up with this nonsense week after week. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Mr. B.
All right. So we're going with the Who song. We played a Who song last week, do another Who song this week. We didn't talk about the Mets today, but the pitching, as you said, is doing very well, and they're bringing up a bunch of kids. So I'm going to do a Who song called "The Kids Are All Right." All right. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. That's fine. I know them all pretty well. And I know sometimes I must get out in the line. Better leave her behind. With the kids are all right. The kids are all right. Sometimes I feel I gotta get away. Bells chime. I know I gotta get away. And I know if I don't, I'll go out of my mind. Better leave her at home where the kids are all right. The kids are all right. I know if I go, things will be a lot better for her. I had things planned, but her folks wouldn't let her. I don't mind other guys dancing with my girl. That's fine. I know them all pretty well. And I know sometimes I must get out in the light. Better leave her at home with the kids are all right. The kids are all right. Sometimes I feel I gotta get away. Bells chime. I know I gotta get away. And I know if I don't, I'll go out of my mind. Better leave her at home with the kids are all right. 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 See you next week.
Have a good weekend, everybody.